Huss, how are you and what's changed with you since we last spoke about money?
I am sticking to the goal that I set when we last spoke. So, yeah, I am adamant that I do want to get a bigger home for the family because the family is growing. So, I have put the lead on my husband to say, right, this is on you because I've done my bit. So when he does eventually put his name on, I'm putting my name on. But at the same time, the idea is putting my property on the rental market because I know and looking at what happened with COVID, because area, the house market we noticed has increased dramatically, but also the rental. The rental market has gone up by £100. So that's per month. That'll cover my mortgage and give me a little bit extra. So if I speak to the bank and say, right, I know I'm paying X amount, I'm increasing it and bumping up to this amount, that in theory should clear off my mortgage quicker. For me to be realistic, I need to understand if I am able to look at both options, which is better. Selling it, definitely could sell, definitely get a nice lump sum for it. Or do I look at the long term? Long term for me is going to look better because at the end of the day, I have 3 children. They're going to want to invest in property. They are going to get married. They're going to have a life of their own.
So, actually, that conversation that we had 5 months ago, money was a big part of your everyday thinking because there just wasn't enough to go around. How's that changed since we spoke? Because it sounds like you're full of solutions rather than problems at the moment. That sounds like good change to me.
I'm looking at long term. I am. I have to look at long term. I need to look well ahead. I need to know what we're going to prepare for ahead because COVID, if anything, has proven to us nothing's in our control. So, in order for me to ensure that I've got some form of stability, I need a backup plan. And I need to protect ourselves and our children because not everyone's in the best situation. I know a lot of people. And having said that, I was talking to my friends at the same time, and we all said the same thing. Why do we not talk about money? And that we're now opening up more. We're having frank conversations. So I've got like a few group chats with a few mums, my childhood friends, Whisper. We're constantly talking about money now. I'm open and frank with her.
So there was all this stuff that you'd done. You'd just been quiet about it. It doesn't sound like you're so quiet about it anymore, and that you're actively trying to percolate conversations with your friends and you're all actively supporting each other. There's got to be some tangible kind of results from that. The fact that you're encouraging not only Ms. but your other friends, you're asking them to talk about conversation. What have you extracted from it by way of value, do you think?
You know what? It's built our friendship into another level. We're now a lot more relaxed about it. Yeah, because it's like the other day I was talking to a friend of mine and it was actually a few months back when my friend got married and I was broke. Like broke, and I said, "Look, I've got this amount of money. This is how much I'm going to be willing to pay. We're not going over that because I can't afford it." And we all decided on a set bridesmaid outfit. It was online, and I said, right, leave this with me. I am going to haggle like an Asian person does. My friend was like, don't, you're going to upset them. I'm like, listen, if we can haggle, save a bit of money, win-win. So this outfit was about £80, brought it down to 70 quid with free stitching and free delivery from India.
And do you know what? That's so interesting, Hus, because what you've done, some people might say, oh, so what, you saved yourself, 100 quid or 50 quid. When you've only got that much wiggle room in your budget, that's massive. And those small changes, they stack up, but also they promote you and propel you to try and do that again on a bigger level. So you start to become more ambitious with your money saving and money making. Can I ask, after our first conversation, how did you come away feeling? And were you surprised by how you felt?
Yes, indeed. I felt empowered. I felt confident. I really did because I was like, why weren't we talking about it? What is the shame? Um, and I also felt that I was comfortable and around being honest around my friends and not being shy around it, because sometimes you do feel that little stigma of being, well, I'm skin. I don't want them to feel that, oh, I can't go out because I just don't want to go out. I can't go out because I can't afford it because I've got X, Y, and Z to pay, and they are unfortunately the priorities. But now I feel empowered to be honest because the stigma's not there, and they understand. So yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And that made me feel comfortable saying, oh, what was I scared of in the first place?
How do you think you remove the stigma?
Having these conversations,
Right.
being open, like literally being open. I mean, what is it you need to be afraid of? There isn't.
In order to remove the stigma from that conversation and to feel that sense of empowerment and honesty, what does it actually cost you?
Nothing. Cost me nothing.
So isn't that interesting, right? For the cost of nothing, you have extracted so much value just from having what felt like an awkward conversation. But was it awkward?
No, not really, no.
I mean, could you imagine how different you would be in terms of your financial self if your parents had spoken openly about the pros and cons, the highs and the lows of money? Do you think you would be a different person?
I learned to budget at a very young age with my mum because my mum wasn't working. She didn't gain many benefits, so it was relying upon me and my sibling to run the household. Um, and if at the time circumstance would change and my mum said, look, put a tenner aside, put 15 quid aside, put as much aside as you can, this will benefit you for the long term. Yeah, I'd be in a much better position. And this is why I want to encourage my girls to save. When you're older, you'll be like, thanks, mum and dad,
Yeah,
because that money's gonna, you can buy a car, put a deposit, you can do whatever you want with it because that's your money, but you've got a bigger lump sum to play with, or encourage them to invest in something because at the end of the day, the world's their oyster. But if we have those open conversations, like another friend of mine has spoken about these little debit cards that kids can have.
yeah. Go, Henry. Things like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah. Top
Mm,
it up and use it. That's what I'm going to encourage her to do, to give her that
mm,
bit of value of money, to learn how to stretch her money
yeah.
and appreciate it. But then she's got to earn it.
Absolutely. Because so I do that. And I did that with my son from the moment he started secondary school because he needed a card that he could use to get to and from school or to buy a snack at break time or whatever. But he has to earn the money and it's task based. And I tick off the tasks. Have you made your bed all week? Have you done your homework to a satisfactory standard? Did you take your washing down? Did you help empty the dishwasher? Have you contributed? That's the lesson, right? Is that you get nothing for nothing. And then he'll see something like a football shirt, which are horribly overpriced, but like for teenage boys, all they want. It's like, great, you can have that if you pay for it. But I only get £10 a week. Yeah. So that's 6 weeks of saving up. How badly do you want it? It arrived yesterday. He wanted it so bad. It's been in the wash already. And he's like, when's it dry? Because you know what? He worked for that Huss. So that's brilliant, you know?
Yeah, that's the best way, because I think at the same time when they're little, we want to give them what we didn't have. So we want to protect them and give them the nicest things in life. But at the same time, when they're a little bit older, they're like, "Well, can I have it?" And I'm like, "Well, no, because what, you're not learning anything from that."
Yeah.
So we need to teach them these small little things just so they can
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Let's talk about the actions that have come out of that first conversation. So you've gone out and you've done a ton of research to assess whether or not your greatest asset, your property, which is in your name and your name alone, is worth selling, or if it's more valuable to you in the long run to hold on to it and generate an income. That's a big action. What other actions have you taken?
Meeting other mums. So I found a lot of on Instagram, just bypassing by a friend, a lot of these handmade businesses. So to me, I'm finding that as an investment, because these ladies will be recycling vintage fabric at a cost, and then they will style the outfits as you want it. So two of the businesses my personal favorites, um I've styled these outfits for my youngest, one for Eid and one for a special occasion. And I know I can sell that and not make a loss. And that's what I find is brilliant about this industry now, especially around COVID. It's miraculous. It's a new little venture that I've seen.
So what you've identified is that by supporting another small business, you can get your daughter the outfits that she needs, but then you can sell them on at no cost to you. So actually, you're becoming a valuable part of a chain that enables everybody to gain. That's brilliant. And you know, when you said, oh, well, that's the only change I've made really, sorting out my property. Well, you've just done that, right? You've just told me about how you're identifying opportunities to not spend, but support other businesses, give your kids what they want. And you've started conversations with your daughters about their financial futures. So actually, and, giving them thinking about the debit cards and how they can save. So actually, you've done loads with that conversation, more than you've even given yourself credit for. Yeah. And you said it strengthened your relationships with your friends because you're having these liberating conversations where all that stigma's gone. And so I bet they're reaping the rewards of that as well, aren't they? They're finding that they're a bit more ambitious for themselves.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can see it already. You can see it in their eyes. Their eyes are glowing. They're open and frank about their conversations. They're having those. It's a chain reaction, as he said, because they're having their conversations with other females, and it's literally ongoing thing. So I'm hoping this breaks this mold, this stigma that we've got, and people are liberated.
Do you know what? You can't change it on a global scale. You can't even change it on a national scale, but you can change it on a local level. And local to you is your network, right? And you're doing that. Now, if we all did a little bit of that, eventually it goes national. And then, just think about it. And it's a chain reaction. It's a domino effect. And you've been a massive instigator in starting that. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I feel empowered. I just feel liberated. But you know what? I just feel a sense of joy. That because why haven't we done this earlier? Why has it been a stigma? Why? The question is why.
Yeah. I'd really like to tackle it in schools as well. I'd love for our kids, male and female, boys and girls, to be taught about finances and financial ambition.
It needs to be done because I think everything starts from home. If you want the best for your children, you can't rely on third party. They can be a contributing factor, but if it doesn't start from home, it won't improve anywhere else because the first point is, Mum, you never told me this. Why
Yeah.
have I learnt this from so and so? Why aren't you telling me this? And then it makes you think, well, why am I not telling you
Yeah.
this?
Before I let you go, one more question. Has there been definite value to you from that one conversation that we had?
Yes, 100%. I'm a lot more honest and open. I feel liberated, as I said, empowered. I feel, for the example of putting my home on the rental market, because I've had a conversation with another friend, she's the one who told me, well, why do you want to sell? Why don't you rent? And it's because we've had these conversations, I'm able to think outside my little tiny box and look ahead. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, definitely it's one thing to continue on and on and on.